Scarecrow by Jon Peters. The Scarecrow's black button eyes hypnotized me. Yellow stalks of teeth gnashed through the tendons in my neck. Curled bones grip my shoulders as I thrash in attempted escape. Purple pulp squirts from my veins and runs down the straw chin of my assailant. Let me back up to the day before the dawn, to the beginning of this nightmare. I was walking home from League City Middle School, a shithole of a single building stuck in the cow pastures of southeast Texas. Slick mud and cow shit marked my trail. It was 4 p.m. on a wet November day. The sun threatened to disappear behind a thick mist. My thin, tattered jacket did nothing to protect me from the cold. I buried my head into my collar and daydreamed of winter days at the beach. Waves of voices rolled onto the shore, and the wind tasted of salt. The sun was distant and pale, and I felt the strange otherworldliness of the beach in winter. The coldness of a beach in winter was a blessing, much preferred to summer days, because the winter was when I was placed into this world. I belong on the shores because that's where I was born, where the rhythm of existence made the most sense, and the world of today's reality was nowhere to be found. My daydream was broken up by a giant squish, and then the suctional pop of my shoe as it plunged into a wet cow turd. I lost my balance as my shoe popped off, and my sock soaked deep into the earth, my foot wet and my mind bitter. I screamed toward the sky for my bad fortune and wished to be struck dead by lightning. I retrieved my shoe and slipped it back onto my soggy foot and then stomped away, head down and fuming. I must have daydreamed longer than I thought, because when I looked up from my misery, I was no longer on the trail. I had wandered through a broken barbed wire fence into a large pasture. I was about to turn back to the trail when I noticed the most peculiar thing, a scarecrow. I hadn't seen many scarecrows in the area surrounding my neighborhood. There weren't any crops here. I needed to investigate this, no matter the weather or time, or my ill temper. The scarecrow was partially hidden by a large oak tree, its branches snaking out from the squat trunk like tentacles. I approached it cautiously, jumping at the squawk of a crow standing guard atop a wooden fence post near the tree. It flew off when I approached, large black wings shepherding in a death I could not foresee. The scarecrow was propped up by a large wooden post with rusted barbed wire wrapped around its emaciated body. Its eyes were sunken black holes, and its skin a tattered and dried straw-stuffed burlap sack. Its mouth was a gaping, miserable maw, and I imagined a silent and eternal scream escaping from this monstrosity. I took a step back, intending to flee this cursed place. When I tripped over a root, it fell promptly to the ground, striking my head hard against the earth. Blackness. When I awoke, head pounding, my body felt chilled, as if I'd been outside for hours. I scanned the sky with only my right eye, as my left was swollen shut, and noticed the sunlight was breaking over the eastern sky. Dawn. Indeed, I must have been out cold all night. I wondered if my family would have missed me and called for a search party. I felt a sharp pain in my left arm and grabbed it, expecting a broken bone. What I found was much worse. The scarecrow was next to me, gnawing at my elbow, its hands a horrifying yellowish bone. I could see it clearly as it feasted on my body. And that brings us to the present moment, the black eyes of the scarecrow gleefully pulling me in, the yellow stalks of sharp teeth sinking into my skin, the blood from my body forever running. My final wish, my final daydream, is again that of a perfect winter day at the beach, isolated from today, this parasite sucking someone else's life, leaving me to the suction cup of muddy cow fields and rolling clouds and gray skies. I hear a final scream, a death rattle, and I know it's from me, but it feels distant. It's my daydream unraveling, the Scarecrow's eyes and teeth forcing reality into my body. I look away from the beast and into the sky. It's a blood-red morning, and I am alone, except for the Scarecrow, who laughs sweetly. Serial Killer Diary, Part 1. The canal winds its way through the outskirts of my neighborhood, traveling behind the old abandoned farmhouse that I used for the bodies. The bottom of the canal is always muddy due to the amount of rain we get on the coast. It's always raining here. I travel through the bottom of the canal because old Mrs. Dredger can't see me from her washed-out brick house. She's always in her garden. I wish I could rid myself of her, but she's always got her lights on, and it seems like she's got a visitor every damn day. There's nothing to be done about it. Last night, I made sushi for my date. I'd picked JoJo up from the strip at 8 o'clock at night, when most of the girls were looking for customers. I'm more likely to pick up a real looker during the week. One of the benefits of the street girls is that nobody notices they're gone, except other street girls, and every one of them disappears eventually. I also pay for the dinner in cash to avoid a paper trail. I enjoy killing, if I must confess. The sound of a short, thick piece of oak striking a skull makes a deep thud like hitting a watermelon. My hands around the slender throat make the eyes bleed and then pop. Which brings me back to my date with JoJo. She was cute, a redhead, my favorite type. Petite with freckles and a plump little ass that shook when she walked. She had the strawberry chapstick on that I could smell, and it aroused in me a great desire. My brain also zeroed in on her hair and how it fell across her face during the dinner. When my desires reach these heights, I know that it's time for the summoning. The moment the present fades, the fantasy becomes my reality. That first blow is coming, the original thud. JoJo put up a good struggle last night. If I don't connect right away with the wood, that'll happen. You'd be surprised how hard a 95-pound woman can fight. After the deed was done, I washed her in the bathtub with bleach. I cut off her fingers as well, a trick I'd first learned while watching one of those true crime shows, and ground them into tiny pieces with the garbage disposal. I had to open it up and fix it once because a finger had plugged it up. This process takes longer than you might think. You've got to be careful when you wash a body. It's so easy to miss a single hair from your head that ends up on their skin. Body fluids are a big-time threat, and forget about leaving the tips of the fingers attached. You're just begging to get caught if you don't take care of them. The entire process takes several hours, as long as I'm done before dawn so that I can deposit the body in darkness. Next, it was off to the old farmhouse. I've lived in this neighborhood for all my 38 years, and the farmhouse has been neglected now for a decade. I used to sneak inside and look around when I was a kid, but the old man that owned the land caught me. He threatened me with a pitchfork like we were in a horror movie. I laughed at him but left anyway. Since then, I've yet to see him use it. I think he died because I only see his son now. I keep waiting for him to find my burial ground, but for whatever reason he never goes in the farmhouse. To tell you the truth, I want him to. Oh, to see the look on his face when he comes across my bodies. So here I am now, just past old Mrs. Dredger's place, slipping in the muck while carrying JoJo in a burlap sack. It takes me 5 minutes to get to Dredger's place from my house. That's with the weight of a body. It takes another 10 minutes to get to the farmhouse, and by the time I arrive, I'm sweating and tired. I'm a big guy, 6'3", 230 pounds, and I can carry the weight easily, but after 15 minutes, it begins to wear on me. Such is the price I pay for a good hiding spot. It's presently not quite dawn, but I dare not use a headlamp. I know the canal and farmland well by now, so light to travel by isn't necessary anyway. The barn doors have a lock on them, put there by the farmer's son a long time ago, but I was smart. I broke the lock and then replaced it with an identical one. The farmer's son's key won't work, of course, but that makes a little difference. If he wants to get into the barn, he'll get into the barn. From a passing glance, though, it looks like his lock is still latched to the doors. The first streaks of sunlight appear on the horizon as I reach the barn. I put my sack on the ground and then unlock the barn, swinging one door out slowly so as not to make noise. Once I've got my prize inside the barn, I gently shut the door so as not to raise suspicion. Now that I'm inside, I dare risk my headlamp. I have it on low setting so that the light doesn't escape through the high windows in the barn. It gives off just enough light to see the barn floor. I bring the sack into the left stall farthest away from the doors. I've got 2 other bodies buried here, several feet deep in the dirt. I don't notice any smell once the grave is covered up again, but maybe I'm just used to it. I've been using the barn for a dumping ground for 6 months now, and the cops found my place near the river. I get to digging the grave. My shovel has seen better years. It's the same one the old farmer used when he had a horse and stall to clean. Up until the farmer disappeared, there was a saddle hung up by a large nail on a post. This was back when I was still casing the place, getting a feel for the farmer's routine, taking notes of how long he was in the barn, what he was doing. I would hide in the rafters, strung out between boards like a spider, deep in the back of the barn, and watch. He never noticed. I assume the son took the saddle. Besides some old rusted tools, the saddle was the last piece of equipment left. Its disappearance relieved me of my anxiety that the farmer's son was going to be coming around anytime soon. It's been my place ever since. It takes me an hour to dig the hole and bury JoJo. I'm a fast digger, but I took some time with her body before depositing her in the hole. I dumped the dirt over the grave and then smoothed it out so it looked natural. I decided not to check in on my other bodies. They were too decomposed to do much with anyways. JoJo would be fresh for a few days. I had time to come back and be with her if I wanted. I tossed the shovel into the corner of an empty stall, wiped the sweat from my brow with the sleeve of my dirty flannel shirt, and made my way to the front doors of the barn. I was so preoccupied with my digging and my touching of the body that I only heard the muffled sounds just as I approached the barn doors. I froze and listened as the voices grew louder. I ran to the back of the barn and up the ladder that led to the rafter. I climbed between the beams and planted myself in the spot that I used to hide in when I'd watch the farmer. The barn doors opened and in came the son and another man that I'd never seen before. They were discussing the sale of the barn. The son showed the man around, pointing out the sturdiness of the wooden columns and the cleanliness of the place. They were inspecting each stall, and as they did so, my heart thumped in my chest. It looked as if my drop location was finally found. End of part 1.